Hello guys, and welcome back to chemistry class. And today we are going to be looking at Bohr's model of the atom. Before now, we have looked at John Dalton's postulates of his theories. We have looked at John Joseph Thomson's model of the atom. We have looked at Ernest Rutherford's model of the atom. And now we are looking at Niels Bohr's model of the atom. If you have not seen any of those videos, please kindly go back and watch those previous episodes. Please do not forget that this JAMB tutorial is brought to you by the O3Schools JAMB CBT practice app. It is being displayed on your screen right now. It is the best CBT practice app available for you to practice with. You do not need to bother about past questions because all the recent past questions up till the last year is what present on the application. All you need to do is to download the app from Play Store, activate it, and also it will give you an opportunity to be able to participate in our weekly UTME challenge. It's a mock challenge that will give to students preparing for JAMB examination every week to make them prepare for the examination better. So you can participate to see how prepared you are. Follow us, and of course, follow our series on YouTube, and of course, you'll be able to get a very good score in your JAMB. Right? Let's get back to what brought us here today, which is what Bohr's model. Right? This model was discovered by Niels Bohr. His full name is Niels Bohr. It was discovered by Niels Bohr in the year 1913. Right? And if you have watched our previous episode on Ernest Rutherford's model, you will discover that Niels Bohr's model, the assumptions of Niels Bohr is similar to that of Ernest Rutherford, right? In that Niels Bohr proposed a planetary model in which negative electrons orbit around a positively charged nucleus. All right. So Niels Bohr proposed a planetary model whereby negatively charged electrons orbit around a positively charged nucleus. The nucleus is always positive, isn't it? Right. It's always positive because the nucleus contains the protons and the neutrons. Right. So the protons are positive, the neutrons are neutral. So of course, the nucleus generally is positive. So electrons orbiting around the positively charged nucleus is what Niels Bohr was proposing. So you're having something like this, right? You're having something like this, right? Right. So you can see electrons at the edge, electrons revolving around the orbiting around the nucleus. And these are electrons. These are electrons. These are electrons. These are electrons. All right. Then in this nucleus, you're having positive, having neutrons. You're having neutrons. You're having protons. You're having neutrons. So this is the nucleus of an atom, of course, as you can see from that description, because it has both the protons positively charged, and they have the neutrons that have no charge. All right. So, but you just understand, it's just a small representation. Then, of course, this is the electron orbit, or you call it the shell. Right. This is a shell. It's a shell. So you can call this, let's say, n equals to 3, this is n equals to 2, let's say n equals to 1, right? This is an energy level, electrons, negative, electron negative, right? So this is the nucleus, and of course, these are the protons, right? Then these are the neutrons. Of course, the electrons are this is an electron. These are electrons orbiting around the nucleus of the atom. So this is what Niels Bohr proposed: a positively charged nucleus, a generally positively charged nucleus, and then electrons revolving or orbiting around this positively charged nucleus. So it's nothing very difficult to understand. It's very easy from the explanation. So Niels Bohr proposed in 1913 that electrons could only have classical motions, could they have certain classical motions. He's trying to tell us that what electrons do not just move around haphazardly. They move in what? In certain classical what motion. What are these classical motions? Let's quickly look at them, of course, and we'll drive the point home. The video is going to be short, so just follow me what closely. So in 1913, he proposed that what electrons could only have certain classical motions. Of course, one of those motions is that one, electrons in an atom revolve around the nucleus. All right. So this is one of the classical what motion, that electrons in an atom revolve around what? The nucleus. They revolve around what? The nucleus, like we have seen in the diagram. They orbit around what? The positive charged nucleus. The negatively charged electrons orbiting around the world, the positively charged nucleus. So that is what the motion. All right. So number two, that electrons in an atom revolve stably, right? Without radiating, right? This is what without radiating. This is what Niels Bohr calls stationary orbit. Stationary orbit. So that electrons in an atom revolve stably without what? Radiating at a certain set distance from the nucleus. All right. So I said that electrons in an atom revolve stably without what? Radiating. They do not radiate. So he called them what? Niels Bohr called it what? A stationary orbit at a certain set distance from the what? From the nucleus. Right. He called what? These orbits, which are called energy shells. Energy shells or energy levels, right, are associated with definite energy. All right. So going over it again, electrons in an atom revolve stably without radiating. Niels Bohr called those what orbits was stationary orbits at a certain set distance from the nucleus. These orbits called energy shells or energy levels, like those electron orbits I showed you from the diagram, are associated with what? With definite what? Energy. So each of those shells have their own definite energy. With one energy is slightly higher than the other, and so on as we continue. All right. So these orbits called energy shells or energy level are associated with what? With definite energy. So he also continues as saying that when electrons revolve or orbit, revolve around the nucleus, when electrons revolve around the nucleus, they do not lose or gain energy. I'm trying to make you understand it bit by bit, right? That electrons in an atom revolve stably without radiating. Niels Bohr called them stationary orbits at a certain set distance from the nucleus. These orbits, which are called energy shells or energy levels, like I showed you, right? These are what? Energy shell. This is a shell, this is another shell, this is another shell, right? And then and the energy here is lesser than 1 here, it's lesser than 1 here. So this one is greater than this one is greater than this, right? So these orbits called energy shells or energy levels are associated with definite energy, right? See, there's an energy here, there's an energy here. They are associated with definite energy. So when electrons revolve or orbit around the nucleus, they do not lose or gain what? Energy. So we're still looking at the classical motions of what? Of electrons around what? The nucleus of the atom as proposed by Niels Bohr. Then lastly, he said electrons lose or gain energy by jumping. So, like we said here, when electrons revolve around the nucleus, they do not lose or gain energy. So when electrons are, if electrons are want to lose or gain energy, they have to jump from their allowed orbit, from their allowed orbit to the other, thereby emitting, we call them photons, emitting electromagnetic radiation. You can say photons um, with a frequency f or v determined by the energy difference of the levels according to Planck's relation. So we're going to come back up. So thirdly, see electrons lose or firstly, I said that when electrons revolve around the nucleus, they do not lose or gain energy, right? They do not lose or gain energy. But when electrons lose or gain energy, they only lose or gain energy by jumping from their what permittable what for that permittable what orbit to the other. They jump from one what orbit to the other, from one shell to the other, right? So electrons lose or gain energy by jumping from their allowed orbit to the other, thereby they emit what photons or electromagnetic what radiation with a frequency which we can represent with F or V, determined by the energy difference of the levels according to Planck's what relation. So let's quickly look at Planck's relation. Taking this off. So Planck relation is showing us here that a change in energy, that is when what an electron what jumps from one permittable what shell to the other, or from one orbit to the other, from one allowed orbit to the other, change in energy, right? Like let me show you again, right? This is what E minus, E minus, E minus, right? So jumping from here to here or from here to here, whatever, right? If you are jumping from one permittable, this is an orbit, this is an orbit, this is another orbit, this is a shell, these are shells, right? So if they are jumping from one shell to the what to the other, right? There'll be change in energy between what the two shells that they are jumping, that it is jumping from. So change in energy, which is what delta E now is equals to what now? E2 minus what? E1, which is equal to what now? HF, or you can say HV. Are you there? Right? So you can say HV. Then, of course, H there is equal to what? Planck's constant. All right. So this is all what Niels Bohr was talking about in his postulate, or in his own model of the atom or structure, right? So, like I said, Niels Bohr discovered this in 1913, and of course, sequel to that, it was also what his assumptions were similar to that of Ernest Rutherford, right? They were similar to that of Ernest Rutherford. And why would you say they were similar? Because Niels Bohr proposed a planetary model, right, where negatively charged electrons revolve or orbit around what a positively charged nucleus. And I've explained why the nucleus is always positive. It is always positive because the nucleus of an atom contains only the protons and the neutrons. The protons are positively charged while the neutrons are neutral. That is why overall charge on the nucleus is what is positive. The electrons only revolve around the nucleus of the atom, right? So we have shown you that, and I also told you that he made the discovery, he proposed in 1913 that electrons could only have certain classical motions, and those classical motions are what you have looked at just now. So please keep them in mind, and then keep this Planck's this energy difference in mind also, and then of course in the next class we will see much more about other part of what subatomic of particles. Thank you for watching. Please do not forget to click on the red subscribe button below this video. It just means that whenever we release a new video, you'll be the first to be notified. You get a notification on your phone that O3Schools has published a new video. Please click on the like button also, so that other students can find our video which are useful to you. All right, thank you for watching. My name remains Owolabi Thank God.